societies, economies, families, each and every one of us. Which is why it's so clear that the World Health Organization, WHO, needs your support, so that over the next 4 years, together we can save 40 million additional lives. Thanks to a strong new strategy which all governments have created together, based on the latest science, which all governments will implement in their countries and communities, guided and coordinated by WHO. We are a uniquely representative organization. Our members are East, West, North, South, hot and cold, big and small. Our partners are diverse, each bringing important expertise to the table. If we have fully funded WHO's new strategy, by 2028, we will all be able to say, together we have created 10,000 climate and shock-resilient health facilities, trained 3.2 million more health workers, and analyzed thousands of signals to identify, assess, and inform on 30 health threats per month, so outbreaks are identified within 7 days. But to implement the strategy, WHO needs to be appropriately and sustainably funded, with predictability and with enough flexibility. That's why in 2024, we're launching the investment round. We are grateful to all our supporters and encourage our funders to follow those who are already committing flexible and predictable funding. Investment in WHO yields healthy results, a prudent investment, and a moral imperative. It moves us closer to the vision of health for all. We need you, each of our member states and partners, to turn this vision into reality. All for health. Health for all.
Thank you. WHO Director General Dr. Tedros, Your Excellency Mia Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados, Excellencies, honorable guests, internationally acclaimed journalists, dear colleagues. My name is Rana Sidani, and from WHO, I'm honored and thrilled to be your host tonight. I would like to welcome you all to the high-level event to celebrate the launch of WHO's first investment round and the award of the Grand Prix for the Health for All Film Festival. Feel free to take photos and to tweet using the hashtag #InvestInWHO, hashtag WHA77, or hashtag Health for All. I would like to welcome as well our viewers who are watching us online now. Feel free to tell us where are you watching us from. We gather here on the eve of the 77th World Health Assembly that will start tomorrow, Monday 27th, and will continue until 1st of June. This year's World Health Assembly is a very special one, as historical decisions are expected to be made. Central to this is the launch of WHO's first investment round. Historically, there has been a mismatch between the organization financial status and the world's expectation of the organization. This investment round is a decisive step towards sustainable financing. And in a few minutes, we will hear from some of the supporters of WHO who are here with us, how they're planning to support the organization. Before that, I'm honored to introduce internationally acclaimed artists who are with us now. First, the Franco-American pianist Jeff Cohen. And we have as well an internationally acclaimed, multi-award winning opera singer and Chevalier de l'Ordre des Arts et des Lettres. She sang the French national anthem at President Macron's re-election ceremony and at the final match of the FIFA World Cup. She comes from Egypt and is known as the Egyptian Carmen. She will sing for us now the famous Carmen area song, Habanera. Please put your hands together to welcome the mezzo-soprano, Farah Al-Dibani.
L'amour est un oiseau rebelle que nul ne peut apprivoiser. Et c'est bien mauvais qu'on l'appelle, c'est lui qu'on vient de refuser. Il y a les féminins aux prières, l'un parle bien, l'autre se tait. Et c'est l'autre que je préfère, il n'a rien dit, mais il me plaît. L'amour, l'amour, l'amour est enfant de bohème. Il n'a jamais connu de loi. Si tu ne m'aimes pas, je t'aime. Si je t'aime, prends garde à toi. Si tu ne m'aimes pas, si tu ne m'aimes pas, je t'aime. Mais si je t'aime, si je t'aime, prends garde à toi. Que tu croyais surprendre, battu de l'allée s'envola. L'amour est loin, tu peux l'attendre, tu ne l'attends plus, il est là. Tout autour de toi, vite, vite, il vient, s'en va, puis il revient. Tu crois le tenir, il t'évite, tu crois le vide, il te tient. L'amour est enfant de bohème. Il n'a jamais connu de loi. Si tu ne m'aimes pas, je t'aime. Si je t'aime, prends garde à toi. Si tu ne m'aimes pas, si tu ne m'aimes pas, je t'aime. Mais si je t'aime, si je t'aime, prends garde à toi. Thank you, merci, gracias.
Thank you, Farah and Jeff, for this stunning performance. You made us fly very high. So please, everyone now, come back to the venue, come back. The show must go on. I would like now to invite to the floor WHO Director General, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, for his remarks and for a very special announcement. DG, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rana, our Master of Ceremony. Your Excellency, Prime Minister Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados, Your Excellency, former Prime Minister Gordon Brown, Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, and dear Farah El-Libani, distinguished guests, dear colleagues and friends. Good evening, and thank you all for joining us for this historic moment, the launch of the first WHO investment round. We all know that we live in a difficult time, a time of multiple overlapping challenges: conflict, climate change, displacement, poverty, inequality, polarization, and a time of outbreaks and the increasing burden of non-communicable diseases and mental health conditions. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, the world was off track for the health-related targets in the Sustainable Development Goals. Now we're even further behind. We need a radical course correction. At the World Health Assembly this week, WHO member states will consider the 14th General Program of Work, an ambitious global health strategy for the next 4 years. GPW 14 is anchored in our mission to promote, provide, and protect the health of the world's people. The budget for implementing GPW 14 is $11.1 billion over 4 years. We estimate that about $4 billion will be secured through assessed contributions if the planned increases to which member states have committed continue. The investment round aims to mobilize the other $7 billion. Let me put that into context for you. Last year, the world spent $717 billion on cigarettes, a product that caused suffering, disease, death, and huge cost to health systems. Over the 4 years of the GPW, we're asking for 24 cents for every $100 spent on cigarettes. In fact, $7 billion is about the same amount that we would normally expect to mobilize over the same period. Instead of waiting for it to come in over the course of 4 years, not knowing when it will come, or much will come at any one time, the investment round aims to secure that funding upfront. This will allow us to make longer-term plans and hire the people we need to implement those plans on more secure contracts. The investment round is the fourth part of our long-term plan to transform the way WHO is financed, and in turn, to transform our organization. First, we started to expand our donor base by mobilizing new voluntary contributions. Second, we established the WHO Foundation to expand and access new sources of funding, especially the private sector. But the WHO Foundation being the insulator. And third, 2 years ago, member states made a historic commitment to progressively increase assessed contributions to 50% of our base budget by 2030. And the first increase has already happened. And this, as you know, was very historic. This first time member states have agreed to increase by 50%, although the maximum they did in the past was only 3%. So very grateful for the commitment of our member states. The investment round is the next step in this journey. It's about ensuring WHO is fully funded and that the funding we receive is more flexible, predictable, and resilient. We know that we're making this ask at a difficult time, a time of competing priorities and limited resources. But as the COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated, when health is at risk, everything is at risk. Investments in WHO are therefore investments not only in healthier populations, but also in more equitable, more stable, and more secure societies and economies. And I'm deeply grateful to all member states and donors for your investments in WHO in whatever form they can, and especially to those who already make flexible and predictable contributions. We count on your continued support to make the investment round a success and to empower your WHO to fulfill the mandate that you, its member states, established 76 years ago, the highest attainable standard of health for all people as a fundamental right. Excellencies, dear colleagues and friends, at the World Health Assembly tomorrow, I will present my annual awards for global health. And I'm very pleased that this year the awards are being presented to one Nobel laureate and two remarkable women. One of those women is here, Her Excellency, Prime Minister Mia Mottley. Prime Minister Mia Mottley, who I proudly call her my sister, cannot be with us tomorrow. By the way, her name Mia is my granddaughter's name. Just a coincidence, or I want my granddaughter to be like her? Mia, my sister, thank you for being with us tonight on this very special occasion. And I invite you to join me on stage.
Thank you very much, my dear brother, Dr. Tedros, the esteemed Gordon Brown, former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, distinguished delegates all. We live in a world today where we ought to know better. And we ought to know better because of what we've gone through. Over the course of the last few years, we didn't need to read a history book to understand what the Spanish flu did. We didn't need to read a history book to see what the weaponizing of access to medicine or to critical medical aid looks like. We didn't need to read a book to see the threat of new pandemics, largely driven by an increasingly warming climate that all of a sudden presents challenges that we've never seen before. We didn't need to read a book to learn the extent to which our abuse of antibiotics and our failure to put money into research into new antibiotics is having on the capacity of the world to fight infection and, by extension, to the people who regrettably lose their lives because of the failure to be able to fight that infection. We live in a world where we ought to know better. And I say so on the launch of this investment round, largely because what is being asked for, as you've heard, is minuscule in proportion to where money is being spent elsewhere. But what is required, my dear brother, is not simply the raising of funds, but as Prime Minister Brown knows a sea change in the global governance architecture of our international financial institutions and also in the premise of who funds them and for what. In my country, 6 years ago when we came to office and received the mandate of the people, I asked them simply to adopt a simple premise: share the burden, share the bounty. Share the burden, share the bounty. And I repeat that here because there are a few global public goods that this world is failing to be able to sufficiently finance. We met in Paris last year and we understood that there can be no separation between people and planet. None. It is a false dichotomy. Against that backdrop, therefore, we ought to be able to understand that we can't proceed with business as usual. There wasn't always a nation state, but the nation state evolved and we gave it the capacity to protect itself and to fund itself. The extent to which there is global interdependence now requires of us a new deal for how we frame global governance and how we fund global public goods to make sure that the global commons can remain the same. I ask those of us here to join the train, to get on board, and to recognize that unless we begin to internalize that the balance sheets of most multinational corporations, in fact, dwarf more than half of the world's states, we will not be able to get to the point where we need to get. And if we accept that public funds are getting more and more difficult to find, then it means that we can't only rely on states to be at the core of funding the global public goods. Philanthropic organizations have done well, but they spend it on what they want, and we need them to leave 5 cents in each dollar on what the world needs. Similarly, multinational corporations, whether it is in the area of us fighting climate, us recovering from fragility and war and conflict, us as a race fighting the digital divide and being able to protect ourselves in the public space from the wonderful promise but risk of AI, whether it is ensuring the immediate need and access of what humans need to live, water and food security, or whether ultimately, as we hope to have, the preparation for future pandemics and the prevention of future pandemics, or whether, finally, it is the pursuit of knowledge for mankind to survive. These simple global public goods will not be funded by using the metrics of 80 years ago or 76 years ago. It requires a fundamental rethink, but in order to secure the funding, it also requires a fundamental rethink in governance. I hope that we can make these decisions, and even as we do so, on a parallel track, to recognize that there can be no first-class and second-class citizens of the world, particularly as it relates to access to pharmaceuticals and access to medical care. If we get that right, then the missing part of the equation can be found. And what is the missing part of the equation? It is political will. The absence of political will, therefore, leads us not being able to resolve the issues that will make you, the workers of WHO, capable of expanding significantly your reach and your ability simply to save lives and to make lives better for each and every citizen. None of us has the right to determine that our life is worth more than another person. Mercifully, the United Nations system put that to rest when it recognized in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that all of us have the capacity to be treated as human beings and ought to be treated as human beings. and demand the equality of treatment. I want to thank you, Dr. Tedros, for being there and for seeing small countries when others didn't see us. COVID pandemic for us was the wild, wild west in every sense of the word. When we could access goods, we learned that export restrictions would be put on them. When we could access vaccines, export restrictions were also put on them. When we could pay, we couldn't get orders because our orders were simply too small to be taken, whether for equipment or medicines. But the WHO played, along with, in our region, the Pan American Health Organization. And I think of our dear sister who passed last year, who headed it up during that period of time, Clarissa Etienne. But you were the two people who were directly accessible at midnight at night. At midnight at night. And that speaks volumes to the difference you made in saving lives. I dare say hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives across the small island developing states. I thank you for allowing me to be here this afternoon. Tomorrow is the beginning of the 4th International Conference for Small Island Developing States in my sister country of Antigua and Barbuda. And 30 years ago, we met in Barbados to settle the program of action for small island developing states. Since then, more and more the advocacy has allowed us to allow our people to be seen and heard. But in very few agencies has it been greater than in the WHO. We thank you, and I thank you on behalf of my country for the honor which you are conferring on me. I take it not as my own, I take it as that of an honor to Barbados. I am glad to have with me the Chief Medical Officer who was on the front line, but I also want to salute my Ministers of Health, the Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostick and Senior Minister Jerome Walcott, who effectively carried and continue to carry the day-to-day battle in this critical area of health. You said it all. Without health, we have nothing. And as a child, when watching The Three Musketeers, I learned it well. One for all and all for one. Health for all and all for health. Thank you.
That's the voice. Yeah. Prime Minister Mottley, you have been a powerful voice, and that's the voice. For health equity, debt sustainability, development finance, local production of medical products, climate action, especially for small island developing states, and for a holistic approach to non-communicable diseases and mental health, including through the Bridgetown Declaration. Since 2020, you have been the chair and driving force of the One Health Global Leaders Group on antimicrobial resistance. You have demonstrated exemplary leadership in fighting for a healthier, safer, and fairer world for all. So Your Excellency, Prime Minister Mottley, which I proudly say my sister, it's such a great honor for us, especially for me, to award you this lifetime achievement in global health. So thank you again, and look forward to working with you even more closely. Thank you for your leadership. We're very, very proud And I'm glad that my granddaughter's name is Mia, and hope to. Thank you so much. Then, me and Prime Minister Gordon Brown has a story from many years. When he was Prime Minister, I was honored to be a member of his task force on health financing for the developing world. And I remember the former Prime Minister of Norway was a member, and the World Bank President, and of course Margaret Chan also, the former Director General of WHO, among others. His strong belief was that if countries get flexible funding and have a say in the resources they get, they can achieve results. So he had this idea of basket funding from all partners, from the UK and other countries. And I took that to heart, and I exploited that opportunity. And in Ethiopia, during that period, before even the task force was abandoned, we had signed the first compact with many of the donors in Ethiopia. Of course, the major contributor was the UK, but many other countries also joined. And we had a basket funding for the first time. And that basket funding is a flexible funding, like what we're asking for now, for the assessed contribution and the investment round, the two pots. When the funding we get is flexible, then we have the opportunity to prioritize based on the country situation. And that's what happened in Ethiopia. Then the bulk of the funding we got after the signing of that compact was allocated for maternal and child health. And we have invested significantly in maternal and child health, aiming to cut maternal mortality and under 5 mortality significantly. At that time, Ethiopia was mostly, in many indicators, in top 10, even in Africa. Top 10 countries of major contributor as maternal and under 5. Of course, since then, many things have changed. But after that big investment, we have started to see a significant dent or change in the difficult indicators that we had. So I'm a living witness on the importance of significance of a flexible funding, because it empowers you to understand your problems and the root cause of the problems, and empowers you to set the priorities based on the challenges you're facing after understanding the root cause, and to implement. And we used to call it one plan, one budget, one report. And not only helped us to prioritize based on our problems, but there was one thing that helped us as well. When you say one plan, one budget, one report, all donors who contribute to the basket funding, they would only get one plan, one proposal, and they use one budgeting process, and they get one report. Everybody gets one report, meaning minimizing the burden on us. When I was minister, I remember preparing several plans to different donors' proposals, following different budget process of different donors, and reporting to all of them. And exactly the same thing is happening now in WHO. The proposals we write, you can't count it. It's a lot. And the budget we run, the grants, 3,000. 3,000 grants. Some of the grants as little as 100,000. And then, of course, the reports we write based on the grant management, it's just confusing. And a lot of people invest their time, including directors, managing grants, mobilizing resources, managing grants, instead of focusing on the programs. So what I saw at the country level is the same at WHO level as well. So that's with planning. But the other part is when money is not flexible, when funding is not flexible, not only we cannot prioritize, as I said, it also affects the morale of the staff. Do you know that many of our staff are on 60-day contract? They live with uncertainties every single day. And do you know that even those who are better off 6 months contract? Can you have morale when, of course, people are doing their best, but it affects the whole work environment. It increases stress. Instead of focusing on their work, they will focus on whether they will have the next salary or not. But if that's not addressed, that's why it was part of our transformation, we cannot really have a motivated staff. So that's why, that's our story with Gordon and my brother. And now, it's not without reason that he joined us today, because he's a very strong believer of sustainable funding and empowering countries, empowering institutions, because he believes that by empowering countries, by empowering institutions, we can deliver results. That's, at the end of the day, the most important. We can deliver results. So thank you so much, Gordon, for joining us and for your support. Not only on this, but on other issues as our ambassador. Finally, dear colleagues, health is about people, their lives and their stories. One of the most powerful ways to tell those stories and to draw attention to health issues is through the medium of film. The WHO Health for All Film Festival, now in its 5th year, was established to showcase films about health. Tonight, we will announce this year's winners. And I thank the jury and those who will be awarded tonight for using their time and talents for health. And I thank you. And I would like, thank you. I would like, before I give you Rana, I would like to recognize Gilles, if he's with us. He started this initiative and is still going on, and I would like to pay my respect and appreciation, and thank you so much for your leadership on this, Gilles. Thank you so much. And as I said in the morning, I have a great team, good team, and they make me look good. I said this about Paul, and I say the same thing about Jill. When you have a great team, they deliver. And I'm really grateful, despite all the problems which I told you, the contractual and so on. So thank you, Jill. Thank you so much.
Now it's my turn.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, DG. And thank you, Prime Minister. Your words about the organization made me even more proud to be WHO. Thank you so much. Now I'm honored to invite to the stage Mr. Gordon Brown, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, who is as well WHO's Goodwill Ambassador for Global Health Financing. Go ahead. Thank you.
Can I first of all say, on behalf of all of us, to Mia Mottley, you have done more to speak up for climate action in your 6 short years as Prime Minister than any previous leader has done in centuries of inactivity on climate change. And I want to thank you for showing that the climate emergency is also a health emergency, and that we must tackle and will tackle them both together. And And let me also say to Dr. Tedros, your leadership, your vision, your dedication and commitment that we've been shown this evening and at all times is admired and applauded, not just in this continent, but in every continent of the world. And the case that you put today, not just for urgently needed investment in healthcare, but for globally coordinated solutions to what are global problems, reminds us of this truth. If the World Health Organization did not exist before today, it would have to be created today to deal with the challenges that this world faces. And I want to also say that the World Health Organization is needed today more than ever, for we have to stand up for the 4 billion of our fellow citizens who are being denied today basic health care, but for whom health care can, should, and must in future be a human right that everybody can enjoy. Now, as Dr. Tedros has said more eloquently than I can, the pandemic taught us a harsh but irrefutable lesson, that no one is safe anywhere until everyone is safe everywhere. And so it is not enough for nations to act on their own. We have to act across borders and in cooperation. So I am here to support Dr. Tedros and the brilliant staff of the World Health Organization, and to say that 7 billion of additional investment in global health is urgently required and lives depend upon it. Investment is needed now because for the first time in recent history, the number of children who have not received a single dose of any vaccine is climbing by the millions. And these children need, deserve, and must have our support. Investment is needed now because with 5 million deaths per year linked to the silent pandemic of antibiotic resistance, a century of medical progress will unravel unless we take action with new investment. Investment is needed now because tragically last year alone, 700,000 people took their own lives, which lives could have been saved with better mental health support. Investment is needed now because not only is climate change an emergency that is causing difficulties for human health, but it is needed now because of the threat of future pandemics, for which we are still woefully ill-prepared. And that is why I do urge all countries this week to do everything in their power to agree a pandemic action accord that is essential if we are to prevent the repeat of COVID and the 7 million lives lost and the 700 million infected. We need action on the pandemic accord now. And with an unmatched return of $35 for every single dollar that the World Health Organization invests to protect the most vulnerable, to shift health systems toward preventative care, to train the health workforce of tomorrow. Investment in health is quite simply the best single insurance policy in the world. It is the most essential and reliable safety net for any civilized society. It is the most certain path to social justice for all. But we have to face facts. When for all its research, its fieldwork, its provision, its treatments, its vaccines, its emergency responses, its standard setting, the World Health Organization budget is less than the budget of many individual hospitals across the world, is just a fraction of the $9 trillion that we spend annually on global private and public health. And when today, most of it, as Dr. Tedros has just explained, and I will not explain in more detail this evening, but most of it still has to come, not from agreed burden sharing or assessed contributions between countries, but from passing the begging bowl round, states and around private philanthropists. We have to do better than that and give the World Health Organization predictable, regular finance, flexible enough to deal with the emergencies that it has to face every year. So that's why, for the 4 years up to 2028, to bridge the difference between the contributions of countries and the need for 11 billion of sustainable, predictable financing, we need to raise that 7 billion more that Dr. Tedros has talked about. You know, that is only 22 cents per person per year, less than half a cent per week. And yet look at what over the next 4 years we could achieve with that flexible, predictable and reliable investment. We must reduce the 75 million years of lives lost annually due to the neglect of healthcare of women, like tackling postpartum hemorrhage, the leading cause of avoidable deaths of 300,000 mothers worldwide annually. That's why we need new investment. We must fully implement the 3 pillars of Dr. Tedros's global strategy for cervical cancer elimination and HPV vaccination, and that's why we need new investment. The special initiative for mental health support that he is leading for the 1 billion of our fellow citizens who face mental health challenges, that's why we need new investment. The life-saving services for the world's 110 million displaced citizens. They need healthcare in the emergencies they face, and that's why we need that new investment. And when you know that the World Health Organization can tell us that that investment will allow them to help save an additional 40 million lives globally by 2028, ensure 6 billion people can live healthier lives, provide 5 billion people access to health services, and help protect us all from health emergencies. That is the unanswerable case for the investment that Dr. Tedros is asking us for. You know, to have your health is to have hope. And the person who taught me most about hope was Nelson Mandela, whom I happened to know well in the years from the time he was president of South Africa. You know, in the Tate Gallery in London, in this art gallery, there's a painting, the facsimile of which Nelson Mandela actually had for a short time in his prison cell. And the painting, and you can look at it on Wikipedia, is entitled Hope. But when you look at the painting, first of all, you think, this is a painting of a blindfolded girl trying to play a harp with broken strings. And you think, this is not hope, this is desolation, this is hopelessness, this is despair. But you know, Mandela explained to me this, that it is indeed a painting about hope. Because the message that the painting shows is even in the most difficult circumstances, even when times are tough, even when things seem hopeless, you have to retain hope. And we have to retain hope and become ambassadors of hope for a better world with a better health service for all. Think of the transformations that happened, the breakthroughs that happened in the least propitious circumstances. Kennedy's nuclear test ban treaty in the 60s, Reagan and Gorbachev reducing nuclear weapons in the 1980s, closing the ozone layer in the 1990s, the climate accord in Paris in 2015, breakthroughs achieved because of visionary leadership when people realized that things had to change, and breakthroughs that came because people realized that the real enemy that each country faces is not the people of any neighboring state. The real enemy is poverty, deprivation, squalor, ill health, and disease that result from poverty, and we can do something about them because these are preventable causes of deaths and despair. So with this new investment that is proposed, we can do something we have never fully done before. We can create a chain of hope across our world. A chain of hope that can link the richest countries to the poorest countries. A chain of hope that connects those with the power to heal to those in need of healing. A chain of hope that binds together those who care with those who require care. A chain of hope that can unite the world in our common humanity. That is what we are fighting for. That is why we need this new investment. That is why we must press finance ministers in every country to make this possible. That is why I support and will continue to support and work for Dr. Tedros's major initiative announced today. Let us be able to report next year that we have succeeded. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown, for all the passion you put in advocating for WHO's sustainable financing. Thank you for this passion. It's contagious. Thanks. Brazil Minister of Health, Nícia Trindade, had wanted to be with us here in Geneva, but duty is calling in Brazil as extreme rainfall and flooding has hit the southern part of the country. WHO has been supporting Brazil in bringing relief, and this evening, our thoughts and heart are with the Brazilian people affected by this emergency. The government of Brazil is represented here with us tonight by His Excellency the Ambassador Alexander Gislanen. Welcome. I now invite you to watch a video message from Her Excellency the Minister of Health, Ms. Nícia Trindade. Thank you.
Dear Dr. Tedros Adhanom, dear ladies and gentlemen, I wish I could be with you this afternoon, but as you may be aware, I've had to stay in order to help face the sanitary consequences of a devastating flood which took place in Rio Grande do Sul, a Brazilian state, recently. Unfortunately, another compelling evidence of the climate change impact on health. By the way, the last years have taught us at least two lessons over and over again. One is the centrality of health in international affairs. Climate change results in severe impacts on health. Food insecurity results in severe impacts on health. Economic crises and military conflicts, of course, do too. Needless to mention the importance of pandemics and national and regional health emergencies for all of our countries. There is no way to look to the future of humankind without keeping health solidly in mind. The second lesson is the central position of the WHO in this context. Global problems need global solutions, and no other organization has turned out to be in a better position to provide us a chance to come to global solutions. A strong WHO will be fundamental to face the challenges ahead. We need a WHO well-equipped and well-funded, able to fulfill its mandate now and in the coming years. This is why we will use the convening power of G20 to help mobilize efforts to make the investment round a success. We are going to hold a session with the G20 Health Ministerial Meeting in October to sensitize countries to join this initiative. We'll participate in the virtual meeting of heads of states to be convened by the WHO in the following days. And we are also to reserve a moment at the G20 Leaders Summit in November so we can announce to the world what outcomes we'll have achieved. We are glad to be of assistance. We got your back, my brother. Count on our support until the end. Together, we can do it. Thank you.
Muito obrigado, Excelência. Mezzo-soprano Farah Al-Dibani is currently releasing 2 songs to raise awareness of the younger generation of climate crisis and sustainability. One song is with the collaboration of the Grammy Award winner Indian artist Ricky Kaj, and the second song is with the Japanese Earth Project Foundation. We will listen now to the song Historia d'un Amour in French, Spanish, and Arabic, the lyrics written by Farah herself. So I would like to welcome Farah and Jeff one more time. Please put your hands together to welcome our artists.
Mon histoire, c'est l'histoire d'un amour. Ma complainte, c'est la plainte de deux cœurs. Un roman comme tant d'autres qui pourrait être le vôtre, gens d'ici ou bien d'ailleurs. C'est la flamme qui enflamme sans brûler. C'est le rêve que l'on rêve sans dormir. Un grand arbre qui se dresse, plein de force, de tendresse, vers le jour qui va venir. C'est l'histoire d'un amour éternel et banal qui apporte chaque jour tous les biens, tous les mal, avec le roulant sans l'os. C'est le long se dit adieu, avec les soirées d'angoisse et les matins merveilleux. Ya no estás más a mi lado, corazón. En el alma solo tengo soledad. Y si ya no puedo verte, porque Dios me hizo quererte para hacerme sufrir más. Siempre fuiste la razón de mi existir. Adorarte para mí fue religión. En tus besos encontraba el calor que me brindaba el amor y la pasión. Es la historia de un amor como no hay otro igual, que me hizo comprender todo el bien, todo el mal, apagándola después. Ay, de vida tan oscura, sin tu amor no viviré, sin tu amor no viviré. الحكاية حكاية حبي والشكوى من قلبك وقلبي والرواية زي غيرها احنا فيها وجزء منها والبداية من هنا حلمنا عمره ما ينتهي ونوره يورينا الطريق لو في يوم تهنا وضعنا حتى في لحظة ودعنا حبنا مكتوب لنا دي حكاية حبنا عادية لكن أبدية عشنا فيها حب وشوق وقسوة وحنية دايما ساعد له أنا هي ساعد فراقنا أحلامنا وليالي هوانا هتعيش ذكرى بقيت أيامنا دي حكاية عشناها كلنا لحبايب لينا مروا في عمرنا عاشوا فينا وكانوا منا وموجودين ما بينا وإن كانوا مش هنا C'est l'histoire d'un amour.
Thank you, Farah. So her name is Farah, and in Arabic, Farah. So in English, it means joy. With her voice and performance, she's capable of bringing tears of joy to our eyes. Thank you so much, Farah, for being an amazing ambassador who shows the power of art in healing. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite to the floor a very special Minister of Health. Her exceptional contributions to health have been recognized globally, earning her the prestigious Best Minister Award at the World Government Summits in February 2024. She serves as well as the chair of WHO Executive Board, demonstrating Qatar's influence in global health governance and Qatar's important support for WHO, including through fully flexible core contribution. I would like now to give the floor to Her Excellency, Dr. Hanan Mohammed Al-Kuwari. Please welcome her. Thank you.
Dear Dr. Tedros, my brother, Director General of the World Health Organization, Your Excellencies, honorable delegates, colleagues, and friends, good evening. It is an honor to be with you here today for the launch of the WHO investment round to reaffirm our unwavering commitment to achieving our shared mission of health for all. The world today is facing increasingly complex and interconnected crises, such as climate change, forced displacement, inequalities in health services globally, economic uncertainty, disease outbreaks, and the threat of future pandemics. It is in this context that the World Health Organization, together with its member states, developed its 14th Global Program of Work, the GP14, which defines the organization's strategy for global health for 2025-2028. The strategy aims to promote, provide, and protect health and well-being for all people everywhere. A new WHO investment case that sets out the key deliverables of the strategy and the resources needed to implement the GP14 will be officially launched on the 28th of May during the first strategic roundtable at the World Health Assembly 77 at Palais des Nations. I would like to invite you all to join us at this discussion on Tuesday. The theme for WHO investment case is All for Health and Health for All. To ensure that our WHO is capacitated to deliver on its constitutional mandate and deliver on the promise of the GP14, it must be sustainably and flexibly financed. The gradual increase in our assessed contributions is a major historical step in that direction. But in parallel with the increase in assessed contributions, WHO requires greater predictability and increased flexibility across voluntary contributions it receives for the full 4-year period of the GP14. The state of Qatar was ranked as 7th member state core contributor to the WHO 2022-2021 program budget, with its first ever core contribution of $10 million in 2021. Building on this momentum, I am proud to announce that the State of Qatar will continue to support the World Health Organization's work in 2024 with a core voluntary contribution of $4 million. Additional support towards the GP14 implementation period will be announced in the future. WHO has been a key partner for the State of Qatar and worked together on various global, regional, and national health priorities, from health security, the eradication of polio and neglected tropical diseases, advocating universal health coverage, to responses to humanitarian crises. Healthcare is a fundamental human right, and we must continue to invest in the World Health Organization to safeguard our health. Our unity is key to our success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your valuable support. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite, I have the pleasure to invite His Excellency Jan Christian Vestre, Norway's new Minister of Health. Norway is a long-standing, high-impact partner in global health. Norway has consistently supported WHO as a central pillar of global health governance and is a stalwart advocate for flexible and predictable multi-year financing. Norway ensures sustained and effective support for WHO's initiatives, reflecting its unwavering commitment to global health and the strengthening of international health system. The floor is yours, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Dear Dr. Tedros, Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, Ministers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, may I, friends. Norway is a strong supporter of WHO and its important mandate. The question now is, how can we best support our beloved organization to deliver on this mandate? How can we make sure that WHO delivers normative guidance and technical support? And how can we make sure that WHO delivers just improvements of people's health and well-being, east, west, north, and south? Sustainable financing, friends, does not answer all. But sustainable and robust financing has been identified as a key component to make WHO more efficient. We as member states need to deliver more predictable, more flexible, and sufficient funding of the WHO. Norway is proud and Norway is committed to co-host the investment round, which will be an important step in securing the organization a more sustainable financing. But we also have made clear that more steps are needed, including an increase in assessed contributions, as already decided by the World Assembly, and continued reform works. The increase in assessed contributions will not only make WHO more efficient, but also more democratic, as the organization will be in a better position to follow the priorities that are decided in the Assembly, instead of following donor earmarked financing. Friends, together with the incremental increase in the assessed contributions and the implementations of the important reforms towards more transparency and accountability, the investment round will help ensure a WHO fit for purpose in the years to come. We are looking forward to seeing the investment case being presented later this week. Norway will do our part. We have moved away from strictly earmarked funds in our voluntary funding, and we are trying to lead by example. We hope and expect more member states are able to increase the flexibility and the predictability in the way they are funding the WHO. Friends, we do need a strong, comprehensive, and committed WHO more than ever before. This is the time. Let's step up the game together. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency. One of the objectives of the investment round is to further diversify WHO's funding base. Developing strong partnerships with philanthropic actors allows WHO to draw upon the strengths of a range of global health players and maximize impact. I would like now to call upon Dr. Gabrielle Long, Director of the Institute of Philanthropy based in Hong Kong, who I'm excited to share with you and to report that recently provided the first-time grant to WHO to help tackle the future challenges of migration and climate change. Welcome, Dr. Lang.
Dr. Tedros, Prime Minister Mottley, Prime Minister Brown, Your Excellencies, Ministers, colleagues, friends. I am extremely humbled to be, I think, the only one representing the funder or foundations community. And you have probably never heard of the Institute of Philanthropy. I'm from Hong Kong, China, and we only established the Institute since last September. So obviously, we are a very new comer. But we have decided to only focus on two topics in this Think, Fund, Do tank for all of Asia, from the Near East to the Far East. And these two topics are global health and the impact on health arising from climate change. Many of the very same things that Prime Minister Mottley reminded us so passionately about just a minute ago, echoed, of course, by Prime Minister Brown. Now, just let me tell you a little bit about why we established the Institute of Philanthropy. The Institute of Philanthropy is a sharing platform above all. It is a platform that hopefully can bring an Asian voice to philanthropic giving. You don't need me to tell you that Asia, from the Middle East to Northeast Asia and everywhere in between, has developed very rapidly economically in the last few decades and probably in the next few decades as well. And while the global philanthropic community and many of my friends from the much more established foundations are in the audience, while there has been a set of standards and common practices, it may or may not be how the Asian way of giving is going to develop. And the Institute of Philanthropy is a common platform, hopefully for us all in the region to come together and explore, define, and develop new ways of giving, and hopefully to channel those same energies to the causes that are so passionately and professionally championed by the WHO, led by Dr. Tedros. Again, what our dear MC just announced was that we're very privileged on behalf of the Institute of Philanthropy to have committed to this cause of health and migration arising from climate change. That is our first collaboration and investment with the WHO, and we're absolutely delighted that this is part of the investment round for the GPW14 that is going to be the subject of a lot of discussion, debate, and hopefully support in the coming week. So again, I hope that this is going to be the first and the very beginning of this journey of the Institute of Philanthropy, established recently by the Hong Kong Jockey Club Charities Trust and with all our partners in Asia, so that we can start to work in a new way with the WHO for global health, and echoing this motto that is behind me, all for health and health for all. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Dr. Long. Through both political and financial leadership, France continues to shape and support the international health efforts. France has repeatedly demonstrated its commitment to global health initiatives, including through the establishment of the Lyon-based WHO Academy, which is a key part of the transformation program led by the Director General, Dr. Tedros. Mr. Frédéric Valetou, Minister Delegate in charge of Health and Prevention, plays a crucial role in maintaining France's positions in supporting global health and initiatives. I would like to invite now to the floor His Excellency. The English translation will be displayed on the screen. Bienvenue. Merci.
After these beautiful French songs, I'm going to speak in French. Monsieur le directeur général de l'OMS, cher Dr Tedros, Madame la Première ministre, Monsieur l'ancien Premier ministre, Mesdames et Messieurs les ministres, Mesdames et Messieurs, plus que jamais, le monde a besoin d'une organisation mondiale de la santé robuste, agile et efficace. La multiplication des crises sanitaires, le recul des soins primaires, l'urgence de renforcer les systèmes de santé et l'émergence de nouveaux risques sanitaires liés au changement climatique sont autant de défis qui nécessitent une mobilisation totale, coordonnée et éclairée de l'ensemble des acteurs de la santé mondiale. L'OMS doit prendre une place centrale dans cette architecture de la santé mondiale. L'OMS doit être à la fois le gardien de la rigueur scientifique, le lanceur d'alerte et surtout le chef d'orchestre, à Genève comme dans chacun des États membres, de l'action des acteurs de la santé mondiale. C'est à vous de créer ces synergies, c'est à vous tous de coordonner les acteurs et leur financement afin de décliner les priorités de santé publique souverainement définies par chaque gouvernement dans chacun des États membres. Cher Dr Tedros, le programme de travail que vous présentez s'inscrit pleinement dans cette direction. Il conforte vos fondamentaux tout en développant de nouveaux projets ambitieux, tels que l'Académie OMS que nous accueillerons à Lyon et qui deviendra un centre de référence mondial de formation continue des professionnels de santé. Bien sûr, cela demande des moyens, vous l'avez évoqué. L'OMS n'a que la force que lui donnent les États qui la composent et qui la soutiennent. La France, pays profondément attaché aux coopérations internationales en santé, a toujours été présente aux côtés de l'OMS, surtout dans les moments les plus difficiles. En 2023, les contributions françaises à l'OMS s'élèvent à 59 millions d'euros, soit 80% de plus que durant la dernière pandémie. C'est ensemble, à l'initiative du président Emmanuel Macron et de nos partenaires européens et internationaux, que face à la pandémie, nous avons mis en place l'initiative ACT-A, un effort historique de solidarité internationale pour l'accès aux vaccins et traitements à travers la planète. Bien sûr, le soutien de la France s'inscrira dans la durée. Dans l'esprit du pacte de Paris pour la planète et les peuples, la France est pleinement mobilisée en faveur d'un financement ambitieux des biens publics mondiaux et notamment de la santé mondiale, tout comme la France est pleinement engagée pour la conclusion rapide d'un accord sur les pandémies. Cher Dr Tedros, j'ai l'honneur de vous annoncer au nom du président Emmanuel Macron que la France accepte de coparrainer ce cycle d'investissement afin de porter à vos côtés la vision d'une politique de santé mondiale plus ambitieuse en deux priorités. D'une part, des ressources humaines mieux formées grâce à une académie puissante et d'autre part, un mandat politique plus affirmé pour l'Organisation mondiale de la santé. Thank you very much.
Merci, merci pour la France et pour Monsieur Valetou. Let's now illustrate all this high-level declaration with some example from WHO's Health for All Film Festival. I'm pleased to invite to the stage my colleague Gilles Robou, who is the mastermind behind this initiative. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Rana. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Before I start on my script, I'd like to improvise something for you, Dr. Tedros. I want to thank you a lot for the tribute you made to my work at the beginning, and I want to insist I want to share this tribute to about 700 colleagues who have helped on this film festival project since 2019. So thank you for that, and I should really share the tribute you made with all these colleagues, and this the trust you had also in me and all these colleagues to implement this festival is a great example of your managerial ambition to stimulate the staff in being creative and innovative. So, to share the stage with me for this announcement of the awards, I have a pleasure to have a special guest with us, all the way from India, one of our critically acclaimed artists in this festival jury, the filmmaker, actor, and social advocate, Nandita Das. Please, come on stage. And let's be careful not to hide too much the trophies which are here waiting for their winners. So I give a few information about the festival before we start. To add that every year in this jury we have also several well-known artists and activists from various WHO regions, like for this 5th edition, Sharon Stone from USA, Alfonso Herrera from Mexico, Yusra Mardini from Syria and Germany, and many more that you can all discover in our festival website with a jury webpage. So ladies and gentlemen, this is so nice to have a big crowd for the first time in the history of this film festival, because we started during the COVID pandemic, so it was virtual at that time. And today we have really a great honor to have all of you to attend this awards announcement. I'm sure also online that we have many festival supporters, quite curious to discover which health stories will win this year. Many people might think that the film festival is mainly an artistic initiative, not fully part of the WHO's core mandate, maybe. But our concept of festival is rather a tool serving the needs of all our member states and their civil society, so that in each country, various champions of health could share their stories at international level and create a worldwide exchange of knowledge and testimonies. Since 2020, we have received 5,000 submissions, 5,000 submissions from more than 110 countries. We have selected 300 of them as stories useful for health education and health promotion, and also critical to raise funds and on issues that the storytelling power of film can bring in the heart of decision makers. Please visit our festival website to have a look at this catalogue of stories. For now, it's my pleasure to invite Nandita to announce the Grand Prix. So we are going to have 3 Grand Prix announced with the winners invited, and then you will see also a few more prizes after that. But let's start with the Grand Prix. Nandita, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Gilles. Good evening or even good morning, depending on where you are. This is for all those who have joined online from around the world to attend this award night of the film festival. I'm grateful that I was invited to be part of the jury, and it's my pleasure to announce the 3 Grand Prix winners of the 5th Health for All Film Festival. So let's begin with the section Health Emergencies. The Grand Prix in this category is for a short film titled Journey Beyond the Rubble, produced in Turkey by the Independent Doctors Association and directed by Mumen Sayed Isa and Athir Salembar. While we watch an excerpt from the film, I invite the representative of the association to come on stage to receive their trophy. A very warm welcome to Lama Abu Abdullah. She's the Partnerships Coordinator at the Independent Doctors Association.
So let's watch an excerpt of a film before your reaction. Thank you very much.
وأنا بالبيت ضليت أنا تقريبا 5 أيام بس يعني ما كنت بعرف الأيام إنه شقد 5 أيام 4 أيام ما كنت بعرف الأيام حتى طلعت لحتى خبرني ضليت كنت إنه ننام ووقت ننام نجي لحياتنا الطبيعية نحن نايمين بفيق نلاقي حالنا إنه نحن تحت قلت له طبعا طلعت من عنده عم ببكي بعد ما طلعت من عنده رجعت على رزق بعد ما رجعت لعنده على نزب، رجعت على نزب بركت يعني خلص أنا أهملت حالي كتير مو شوي، إنه قطعت الأمل. قالوا لي بدك تاخدي كرسي وتبركي عليه، خلص كل العمل. رب العالمين بعث لي عالم وناس إنه من هون من منظمات نزب إيش اسمه إذا أخذونا المعالجة الفيزيائية، وهيك صرت أشوف حالي إنه عم بتحسن عن قبل.
So, good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank WHO, the organizers of the Health for All Film Festival, and the jury of our category for all of their efforts. And also, big thanks to my colleagues, Athir, Mu'min, and Omar, who worked hard to produce this story in a very short period of time. I also want to thank the entire team in Turkey who helped change the lives of thousands of earthquake survivors. And it's important to mention all of them were survivors while they were responding to other survivors. Thank you a lot.
Thank you very much. I had a question. So there were so many heartbreaking stories of people who survived the devastating earthquake. Do you know why the directors chose this particular story?
Yeah, sure. So at IDA, we advocate for Syrian refugees and look to keep Syria's future at the top of the agenda. Physical rehabilitation and mental health services are among those requiring long-term solutions. Significant funding was provided for the earthquake response to cover the needs for a maximum of 1.5 years. Unfortunately, survivors still require support, and the consequences of the devastating earthquake still there. Our film hero, Wala, after more than a year of treatment, has just started to take her first steps on her own, and she still requires long-term psychosocial and mental health support. Unfortunately, unfortunately, there is thousands of people similar to Wala among the Syrian refugees. According to WHO, on a more global perspective, funding is also particularly needed for providing culturally sensitive healthcare services to migrants and refugees, including them within health systems, and the need for more multi-sectoral research, helping to understand the health determinants, status, and outcomes that impact their health. So this is why we selected this story to be announced today and to participate in the in the Health for All Film Festival. So finally, thank you again, and we hope that through our film, we can make a bigger impact, draw the world's attention to our crisis, and reach more people in need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lana. So each main category of the Health for All Film Festival is based on one of WHO's major public health goals. The jury selected various types of films in each category, whether they were fiction, animation, or documentary, since many different artistic approaches can be used to convey the important message of health. The Grand Prix in the Better Health and Well-Being category is for a fiction film titled Color, produced and directed in Spain by Eva Jakubowska, a filmmaker and actor who's both from Poland and Spain. Eva will soon join us online, but let's first watch an excerpt from her film.
¡Ay, qué bien! Gracias, bonita. Bueno, ya que hoy se han alineado los astros y estamos aquí todos juntos, me gustaría confesaros algo. Confesar no, compartir. Decir, vamos, que os quiero decir algo.
Vaya,
Pues ya tiene que ser importante, que con la labia que tú tienes y te atragantes en una frase...
Oye, que las palabras son importantes.
Cuenta, cuenta.
Venga, hermanita, di. ¿Te ha llamado Almodóvar?
No, todavía no. ¿Habrá perdido mi número o algo?
Seguro, sí.
Pero no estarás malita, ¿no?
No, abuela, estoy bien.
Vamos a hablar a la pobre muchacha.
Gracias, papá. Os quería decir que soy heterosexual.
So Eva is going to come on? Or?
Eva is doubly online, and check with my colleagues there at the Régie if Eva can join us. She was waiting. Okay, here
There
she
she
is.
is. Congratulations, Eva, for this wonderful film on behalf of the WHO. So please go ahead if you want to say something. And here, yes.
To virtually.
We still don't have the technology to transport this to you, but here it is. And many congratulations to you and your team.
Hopefully soon enough. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. It's a true honor to be awarded this Grand Prix for the Better Health and Well-being category of the 5th Health for All Film Festival. I would like to thank the organizers of this unique festival by World Health Organization for creating such an amazing space where we can share our visions. I feel very lucky to connect with incredible artists today who refuse to stop creating, and to humanitarians like yourself who never cease working towards better health and well-being of people, regardless of their gender and sexual identity.
You, Eva. Thank you so much. So we have a question for you. I'm assuming you're still online. In your short film, you challenge gender stereotypes and also call out prejudices associated with non-binary people and relationships. But you have completely turned it on its head. You have adopted a very interesting method of telling your story. Can you tell us why you chose this?
Sure. My storyline is based on the question, what if we look at everything upside down? And this exercise allows us to take a certain distance. As the Spanish poet and philosopher Ramón de Campoamor once said, it all depends on the color of the glass you're looking through. And I believe that cinema is precisely the medium that allows us the most to put on someone else's glasses and view the world the same way they do. And also it inspires us to look for new ways of accessing to care and better health in the context of gender diversity. And thanks to a festival like this one, we're one step closer. It may be a utopian vision, but many of us dream of a world in which it really won't matter what's your gender, your sexual orientation, your country of origin, your skin color, philosophy, or beliefs. It's all the same. We are all the same. And this dream of good recognition of gender diversity is what drives many of us to create. With hope, it can change perspectives and even behaviors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eva. I recommend this film that we all see. It's with humor, and you managed to convey the message in a very innovative way. So thank you.
I appreciate it. I tried.
The Grand Prix in the Universal Health Coverage category is for a documentary short titled The Visionary Women of Indonesia, produced by the Fred Hallows Foundation from Australia and directed by Nalin Narang. Nalin will also connect with us online, but let's watch an excerpt from his film first.
There was a senior male nurse, and he didn't look at me at all. I mean, he considered me, there were sometimes people would consider, you're a female, you're not important. eye health services was practically null. There were no services.
Dr. Siti Farida is the former chairperson of Padami NTB, the Ophthalmologists Association in West Nusa Tenggara, also known as the NTB province of Indonesia, one of the highly affected areas in the country. Over the years, a strong female workforce started to pave the way for change in the region. But it hasn't been easy.
Do we have Naline Narang with us connected? Yes.
Yes,
Hello.
there you are.
Hello there.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Nalin.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Focusing on this very important issue. So here is, okay, I'm going to give that one because the earlier one is taken. So here, I hope you can see it clearly. That's your wonderful prize.
On the trophy.
Yes, please. I don't know which camera, but yes,
Sure.
please take a, okay, this one.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you so much. And a good afternoon to everyone in Geneva and around the world. This is a great honor, and I'm happy to virtually accept this prize on behalf of the Fred Hollows Foundation. I'd like to express my gratitude to our team and partners in Indonesia who made this film possible, including the Ministry of Health and Padami NTB. And the foundation is very grateful to the jury and the World Health Organization for recognizing the transformative impact of our work as a key global partner. Thank you.
thank you. So, Nalin, there's a question for you. What, in your view, is the main lesson on eye health care that you most wanted to focus through your film?
Thank you for asking. These visionary women of Indonesia have served their community with compassion, responsibility, equality, and care. And their work echoes a WHO report from 2022, which assessed that essential eye care interventions, such as cataract surgery, are over 10% lower in women than men. And to close this gender gap and to ensure that services are sustainable, eye care needs to become an essential part of universal health coverage within countries. Now, on the other hand, women account for almost 70% of the health workforce, but just 25% of the most influential leadership positions. In addition, beyond their action in Indonesia, we hope that our film sheds light on the fact that investing in eye health transforms lives, and the need for investment has never been greater. At least 1 billion people globally have a vision impairment, and more than 90% of vision loss can be prevented or treated. Now, at the Fred Hollows Foundation, we aim to elevate eye health as a social, economic, and development issue, which demands greater political will and resourcing. And we make the case for investing in eye health. Our own research shows that every dollar invested in treating cataract delivers an economic return of $20. That's a phenomenal return. So I really believe that the visionary women of Indonesia are truly an inspiration for women everywhere and to our ongoing advocacy to ensure women continue to propel us all towards a world where nobody is needlessly blind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and congratulations again.
Thank you indeed, and congratulations again to the 3 Grand Prix winners. So for your information, if you don't know, every year we have these 3 categories: universal health coverage, better health and well-being, and health emergencies. And we have also special prizes, so we are not going to take too much of your time. The special prizes, you will see them on screen, they will appear. We have 4 special prizes, which are 2 are thematic, and one is for a student film, another one very short film. And you can discover all these winners on our festival website. So I invite you to visit that. And after this event, you can also go in a corner at the small cafeteria to see the films in full. There will be a loop on the TV. And people online can watch them on the winners page in our festival and YouTube channel by the WHO. So that's... you see now the special mentions also. The jury has also attributed some special mentions for categories. So here you have a variety of stories awarded by WHO, which are useful for health education, for health promotion, and so on. And I think we can conclude on that. You have a word of conclusion, Nandita, before we give the floor back to Rana?
Well, just to say that if there are filmmakers watching, please continue to use the powerful medium of cinema to tell these stories and to create a greater health awareness. Thank you.
Thank you. And just for the next edition, all the ministries in this room, please encourage your public institutions, your academia, your laboratory research, laboratories and so on, to submit their stories for the next edition. You're welcome.
Thank you, Gilles and Nandita, and congrats for all the winners. To close this event, I would like to invite again our mezzo-soprano Farah Dibani and Jeff. This time, Farah will sing Strauss's famous song, Morgan. It's in German. Yes, Farah is fluent in Arabic, English, French, Spanish, and German only. Put your hands together. And Italian. Farah.
Good evening, Dr. Tedros, Prime Minister Mottley, Prime Minister Brown, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to hear my speaking voice just for a tiny bit before I continue singing. I just would like to say how honored we are, Jeff and I, to be here with you amongst you on such a great occasion. It's actually touching. All of the inspiring speeches and words that we've heard from all of you really touched us and gave us energy to perform for you. I believe performing is like a recycling process. You give and you take, you give and you take, like anything else in the world. So this has been the case for us. I hope for you too. So I hope with this last song, you would actually leave on a high note, as we say, as opera singers say, and have a positive and hopeful tomorrow. This song, Morgan, is one of the most touching songs, even if you don't know what it's the text, because it's in German. I didn't mean to say that, but I grew up with German, so I'm... Anyway, the first phrase is actually, und morgen wird die Sonne wieder scheinen, which means, and tomorrow the sun will shine again. And I think that's all you need to be transported throughout this week. Und morgen wird die Sonne wieder scheinen und auf dem Wege, den ich gehen werde, wird uns die Glücklichen And applause to all of you, actually. You are the real action takers in this world. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Farah. I would like to recognize an unknown soldier who made the participation of Farah in this event possible. She is a WHO staff, and she is the auntie of Farah. Thank you so much for Maha Mottley, who is watching us now. Thank you. If you are a WHO staff, you serve the organization by all means, so thank you. Now, we ended on a high German note. I would like you to end on an even higher, because I invite you to the reception at the WHO restaurant, hosted and kindly offered to us by His Excellency, the Minister of Health of Germany, Dr. Karl Lauterbach. Thank you so much. I thank as well everyone who's watching us online. Thank you. Share, like, and tell us if you like this event. Thank you and good night.
I'd like to make a small announcement for festival